Thank you for joining us today for what I believe is a very important topic, reopening Kids Church. Now, although our topic that we have promoted is entitled Reopening Kids Church, we really today will be discussing all of the physical connections and ministries and activities that involve children in our churches, whether that's children's church, midweek ministry, special events, outreaches, everything that we do with our kids. So I want to go ahead and address that up front. To share with us today, we have an all-star panel of leaders. I appreciate each one of these for giving us their time today, and I'm so thankful for each of their ministries. So in a moment, I'm going to introduce them to you. I want you to know that each of them are serving in ministry in the Church of God of Prophecy, but they do represent some of the different types of ministries in our church. And so I'm grateful again for their time today. Today with us, we have Kim Batson. Kim serves as the Children's Ministries and Camping Ministries Coordinator for the Church of God of Prophecy in Tennessee. Kim holds a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology. She works in the mental health field as a program manager and is responsible for leadership development at the Mental Health Cooperative, where she has held positions for more than 20 years. Kim sees the importance of mentoring and developing leaders, and she has a passion for people and has dedicated her life to the ministry of children, to developing others. And Kim has been an instructor with us and taught quite a bit internationally with us. So Kim, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity.
We're looking forward to hearing from you. We also have with us a person who I always say is no stranger to all of you who are watching, Melissa Minter. Melissa was called into children's ministry by God and her mom, as she likes to tell us. Her mom said, "You are old enough to teach this class. You can do it." Melissa holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Lee University in Math and Science and a Master's degree in Curriculum and Instruction. She's had the privilege of teaching public school in both Tennessee and Georgia, as well as the opportunity to teach at a mission school in Greece. Someday, I'm going to find out about that, Melissa. We've never talked about it. She has served on the mission teams for 5 different churches, and she currently serves as the children's pastor of the Central Community Church in Chatsworth, Georgia. Melissa, thank you for being with us today as well.
Thanks for the opportunity, Sean.
And finally, we have with us, last but certainly not least, Mark Wagnon Jr. Mark is the lead pastor of the College Park Church in Greenville, South Carolina. He and his wife, Jennifer, have a heart to reach their city and beyond with the life-transforming message of Jesus. They believe in the next generation, and they value the wisdom and guidance of those who've gone before them. Mark sold out to Jesus at the age of 19. Since then, he has passionately pursued Jesus to edify the church. Pastor Mark has spent the last 10 years at College Park Church of God of Prophecy, first as youth pastor for 4.5 years, executive pastor for 2 years, interim lead pastor for 1 year, and lead pastor for 3.5 years, and counting. He also serves as the senior camp director and state youth director for South Carolina Church of God of Prophecy. And I think he would tell you one of the highlights of his ministry was being our speaker at ICM last year. So, hey, Mark.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us, Pastor Mark.
Great to be with y'all.
Welcome each and every one of you. We look forward to hearing from you. So this afternoon, our panel will share thoughts, insights, and strategies for churches when considering how and when to resume their ministries to children. We have a number of new resources that are available today on the Children's Ministries website. There is a recommended phasing in strategy that you might consider using, as well as some checklists and tools discussing things like a wellness policy and how to clean your facilities. So please check that out today. We encourage all of our leaders, and we want to say this clearly and upfront, to make sure that they comply with the directives of their governments, as well as the leadership of their national, regional, and or state overseer and state offices. We also want to say, as we met yesterday, that we realize not one size will fit all. Your situation and your community are unique. And so what we share today, we hope that you're able to take, to think about it, and perhaps apply what's appropriate to your ministry. So I'm just going to dive on in with a few questions that we have prepared for our panel. If you have a comment or question, please feel free to place it in the comments here on Facebook. If we do not address your questions during this conversation, one of our team members will be happy to try to assist you. All right, guys, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, well, let's just dive in. So let's start with you, Pastor Mark. What are some things that you believe that we have learned or experienced during this extraordinary time that you hope that we will maintain once life returns to some semblance of normal?
Number one, social media is not the devil.
There you go.
It went from social media is the enemy. Now, welcome to church online. I think the number one thing we've learned, specifically for me as a senior pastor, is humility, that we need others to make this happen. Instead of showing ourselves as a great solo leader, it's caused us to learn and lean on others to make this online church and communicating to our members happen.
That's excellent. And you know, I was with one of our senior saints yesterday, and he was somebody who was very critical of Facebook previously. But in our conversation, he was talking about what a blessing this has been,
Right?
For ministry and gospel. So I agree wholeheartedly with you. How about you, Kim? What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I think one of the best things that's happened in all of this that I hope never changes is it's put the family back at the centerpiece of what we do. And I've been excited to see the creativity as children's ministers have partnered with families to provide them with resources to do the lesson at home, to do family devotions, actually coming alongside the family and not taking all of the burden on just the children's ministry department. But we've really partnered better than I've probably ever seen it before. I also pushed us outside the box of thinking about ministry, that it's not a one size fits all. And I hope we go back to face-to-face ministry. We don't stop the online. We don't stop the connecting online, because there will be kids that can't join us back immediately and want to continue to minister to all. And what will meet one person's needs different for another person.
Absolutely great. And, you know, I agree with you. I've really, just even in my own home, seen that there's sort of this sense of the recommissioning of the parents and of the family. The parents as the priests of their home.
Come on.
And in many of our homes, I do believe that some altars are being rebuilt.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I hope we don't lose those. How about you, Melissa?
I would just echo what Mark said with the use of technology that has happened. These video teams that have come up, you know, we've had dreams and thoughts of doing things, and we were kind of pushed into it. I had to figure out how to start a YouTube channel. I didn't, you know, but now that I have one, wanting to utilize the people who've been doing the videos and keep this up, and just the possibilities that have opened up, things that I had wanted to do on site. Now I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute, maybe I could do this with the video that people could use. So that, and keeping the social media current. We had a Facebook group for our parents. It was not really, it had kind of fallen by the wayside, not real active. So just keeping all these things going, I think, will be a great tool to minister to families.
Sure. And we have been so proud. I've been so proud of our pastors and our children's ministry leaders who have really embraced this technology, and they've done it. Many of them have done it scared or unsure or uncertain, but they're doing it. And boy, a few weeks later, they're pros at it. And so I'm so proud of everybody who's stepping out in faith. So those were great responses. Thanks, everybody. So Kim, let's start with you with our next question. As we think about reopening our churches, specifically children's church or children's ministries, what are some of those practical routines that we're going to have to think differently about moving forward?
Well, cleaning at times is not our favorite thing to do, and many times maybe got pushed to the end of what we would like to do in ministry, and now it's going to have to be at the front of what we do in ministry. So it's going to be very important to have a checklist of sorts to ensure that everything is sanitized and wiped down before ministry begins and after ministry ends. We're going to need more volunteers, I believe, than we've ever needed before. People to help us to sanitize the bathroom after each child has used the restroom. People to help us to monitor kids to ensure they are social distancing which is the new word of the day, to make sure that we have enough support to ensure that we can have safe ministry. I think right now we've got to really look at our space. Most of the churches of the people that I know, we have not enough volunteers and not enough space. So now we're going to have to really critique our space and figure out what furniture has to be removed, what chairs maybe need to be removed. Maybe we remove all furniture and do hula hoops on the floor to allow the environment to provide what kids cannot do on their own, which is understand I can't touch someone else. So we as the ministry teams are going to have to provide that for them. I think we have to begin to say how many volunteers do we have to work with. Some may have situations in their homes where they cannot feel safe to return, and we're going to have to begin to look at where we're at. And I think when we go back to children's ministry, my recommendation is to not have them as long as maybe we had them before. Maybe dismiss them after worship, have them worship with their family. Only keep them in ministry as long as you can keep them engaged, because I think it's the downtime is when we could see some of the social distancing limits being pushed.
Okay, great. How about you, Melissa? Any thoughts?
Well, we all know that kids touch everything. That's just what they do. So especially in some of our younger areas of ministry, we're going to have to look at those toys. The soft things that can't easily be sanitized or washed, those may need to be removed. So we can look at things that we can clean very easily. Being conscious that our restrooms don't run out of soap and paper towels and have sanitizer and all that kind of thing that we mentioned. But another thing in children's ministry, we like games. We love to play games with kids, you know, and now you can't do the whole relay where you run and then come back and tag your partner and all those items that we share when we play games. So we're going to have to really stretch our creativity to come up with ways of keeping kids engaged, games that we can play, things that we can teach them, that although they are not touching the same things, that they are engaged in ministry and what we're doing. Also, kids just love to run and high five and hug and all that kind of stuff when they get to church. And so they're not going to understand, again, the social distancing thing. I heard somebody mention that their kid has no concept of what 6 feet even means. So, you know, we're going to have to talk to kids. And I know, like at our church, we're telling people, you know, let's wave instead of, you know, hug or whatever. That's no fun. So what I'm considering is coming up with a fun greeting for us to do, producing a video.
Awesome.
Thinking of calling it, we're going to do the SWAP, which is slap your knees, clap your hands, and wave like this. So yeah, something to teach the kids. So that when they come, they're excited to greet each other this way. Instead of all the you can't do this, this is what you can do this. And it's going to be different, but we can have some fun with it.
I love that. And I love the idea of trying to replace, not taking away that sense of greeting and saying hello to one another, but trying to find something that they're going to really enjoy doing. So that's excellent as well. How about you, Pastor Mark?
One of the things Kim said, as well as Melissa, sanitizing before and after service. The main reason for that, it may seem tedious, but it's to be able to build and instill a peace of mind in the moms and the fathers of our church, to let them know we know it's sanitized, not we wonder or we think. No, because we put it into action, we have a plan, and we can tell you for sure it's clean.
Excellent. And I will mention here, this is another plug. If you'll visit the International Children's Ministry website, we now have a couple of checklists that you can download just to get you thinking. There may be some things that you want to add or delete from those checklists, but we invite you to download those. I think it is important. People, for our younger kids, there was a study not too long ago about parents of younger children when they came to our churches. And their concern was not really about the spiritual matters, but the safety of their children. So I do think that will be a top priority when we return back to our churches. And as Melissa said, rethinking some of these routines. I know I'm a preschool children's minister, which means I give out snacks every week. And so really rethinking, how do I distribute those snacks to the kids and make sure that that we're safe in just that small little area of ministry. So thank you all for those responses. So Melissa, as
Yes.
our resident children's pastor on this thing, does your church have a strategy yet for reopening, and how do you think that you're going to reintroduce physical ministry to your kids?
We do. Right now, our target date we're hoping to open is May 17th. Our state is allowing those things, but we're trying to comply with all of the things that we need to do to keep our members safe and to keep our kids safe. So first of all, we're very blessed in that our sanctuary doubles as a gym. So we have a lot of space that we're going to be able to spread out. So we will be having family worship for a while. We don't have a target date yet. We're starting back to individual children's ministry, not sure what's happening in our area, so we're holding off on that. But we're going to start with family worship. And we will be setting up, spreading everything out for families, allowing them to sit at a table with chairs, because kids have a much better understanding of you need to be at your table as opposed to in your row, where you can kind of escape at either end. So we will have that. We will be offering bags for the kids when they come in with small packs of disposable crayons. They can take them with them. I'm going to be working with the pastor to find out, what his sermon topic is going to be, so that we can provide possibly a coloring page to go along with the Bible story, some sermon notes pages that parents will have that older kids can follow along, just really encouraging families to worship together. And I think this is a really good chance for us to kind of press the reset button, that this isn't kids in adult worship. This is all of us worshiping together. So just kind of helping parents, a tip sheet. This is how you can worship with your kids. This is something that you can do with them. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. We will be propping doors open so that people can come right in. Areas will be numbered so that when you come in, you go right to your table or your section of chairs, and then we will dismiss by number. So everybody heads out to the parking lot so that, because our kids are used to running in the gym after church and playing with their friends. So hopefully this will help just a little bit in that. And then we will be continuing all of the online stuff that we've been doing for kids. I've been offering a full worship service every Sunday on YouTube before the live stream of our pastor's sermon. So I will continue doing that. I'll offer it in the afternoon for parents, as well as a Wednesday devotional that they can still do, and hoping to be able to add some elements to that for the parents so they can build on it at home. So keep that connection of ministry while we're doing the family ministry.
That's great. And I do love that integration of the parents into your strategy, and the families will still be connected with their kids and with the lessons and with what's happening in the church. So that's great, Melissa. And how about you, Pastor Mark? What's your plan?
Our plan is to open 2 weeks after Governor McMaster's releases that church can go back to normal. Right now, or today actually, restaurants are now able to eat outside and all, or seat outside. And so it looks to be promising that our doors will be opening. I know a lot of churches around here are opening on the 17th because a lot of them are thinking this week he's going to open up. But regardless of whatever date that is, we're going to wait 2 weeks after, because we want to be able to do a big celebration, a big festival, in order for everyone to come back. I don't know how it is in all the other parts of the world, but I know here in South Carolina, people are getting crazy. As of the last week and a half, our city is smashed. The malls are open right now and all, and people are getting out. They want out. And I met members last night at TJ Maxx. How about that? They're like, man, when are we going to have church? Like soon, and very soon we will have it, and it will be this month. And so we're excited.
All right, excellent. Well, I do want to mention one of the resources that we've made available is a very simple strategy for churches. Whenever you're released to begin meeting as a congregation, this is a recommended phasing in stage that incorporates a lot of what you've heard from today from some of the folks on the video here. But really phase one is planning. So that's now. You can begin planning. What is your strategy going to be whenever it is that your church is able to reopen? So I encourage you to download this plan. It's downloadable and customizable. All the resources are that we're making available. Melissa mentioned earlier, because part of our phasing in strategy we are recommending is for a couple of weeks to do family worship. And Melissa mentioned the sermon notes page. We have that available where you can download and use that, as well as a checklist for pastors as they consider sort of an intergenerational service. What does that look like in evaluating your service? Am I developing in a way that kids are not just spectators, but they are involved in what's going on? I think is a key when you have an intergenerational service like that or have family worship time together. Kim, I have a question for you. You have, as a state children's director, you interact with a lot of pastors and children's workers. So what would you say to a pastor who really wants their children's ministry to open immediately, but their children's leader is just concerned or not sure or feels that a little more time is needed? What would you say to that pastor?
Great question. My philosophy is communication is the key to getting our needs met. And communicating with the pastor as you're creating your strategy, and then communicating any concerns that you feel either you don't have the resources or you don't have the volunteers yet, or you haven't had the time to restructure your classroom to meet the phased in requirements. I think referring back to the strategy that you created together is very important to be able to say, where we've got these, these parts of the strategy are complete, but we still have 3 parts that are not complete. I might need a week or 2 more to be able to complete those. And then what can be done to get ready as soon as possible. The key is we want to have a unified front and a unified message that we provide to parents and that we provide to the congregation in the leadership of the local church.
Excellent. And one of the ideas that as our team gathered together, and we've been watching a lot of different trainings and reading a lot of resources during this time about how to help our churches. One simple idea is do a poll of your families and of the parents and see what are they planning to do. Will they be there when the doors open? Do they want children's ministry right away? A lot of times we do a lot of planning, but we never actually ask the people what their plans are. And so I think that's a great idea and a great way for you to plan appropriately. Also, you may want to poll your volunteers. Some of them, especially some who have been compromised in their health, will not want to come back right away. So before you go back in, full speed, do an evaluation of your team and see who's coming back, who's willing to serve, and who's not. I think that's great. So yes, but communication, Kim, is so crucial during this time. I agree wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
So Melissa,
Yes.
We'll toss the next question to you and hopefully hear from everyone. Whatever our strategies are for reopening our ministries, how will you alleviate the concerns of parents that their kids are going to be safe with you?
The key is going to be communication, and more than one avenue of communication. We tend to pick our favorite and go with that, but we need to let parents know somewhere in written form, probably in a video, because some people would rather watch a video where you can explain, the different things that you're doing, different platforms, what you're going to do to keep their kids safe. Explain your cleaning procedures, what we're going to be doing. And also, just because everybody is at a different place, if you're not starting children's ministry right away, so we can explain to those who maybe, wanted it right away, why we're not or why we are. So all of those explanations that, just to let people know, I think it works better if people know our reasons behind things and what we're doing. So keeping the lines of communication open and allowing parents to share if they have concerns also.
All right, great. How about at your church, Pastor Mark?
Melissa said it. Rule number 1, communication. Rule number 2, communication. Rule number 3, communication. And we want to be able to communicate just our protocol, our systems, our security, in order for that peace of mind to be instilled. They're going to have all this worry because of all the news that they've heard. I've always been a believer that, you know, whatever you listen to, you give authority to. And so if our voice isn't heard, then we're not speaking that authority, that our church is sound, it's clean, everything is good to go here to be able to come back.
Great. And any thoughts from you, Kim?
Yeah, I think it would be good even to almost have a reopening of sorts where you invite families to come into your children's ministry area for them to see the changes that's been made, for them to walk through and be able to see that how the social distancing will look, hear the expectations on the wall of how we will redirect the kids. If you're not going to do that in person, maybe even do that in video, just to kind of walk them through what their children can expect that week. Here's our sanitizing practices. Here are some volunteers that we have that are helping to sanitize even right now. I think they need to see it and they need to experience it for them to trust it.
All right, so communication is key and essential again. So those are all wonderful ideas. Now, Pastor Mark, you know, most of us depend on a lot of volunteers, and we've even heard we're going to need more in light of this new situation that we're in. So what do you say, or how can we assure our volunteers that their health is also a priority for our ministries? And what do we do if somebody's just simply not willing to come back and serve?
Well, that's going to be a big one, because I know a lot of pastors are going to experience that. In regards to a person's decisions, we have to recognize that our decision is not going to match everyone else's decision, but we need to focus on why we made our decision, and that is to win souls and to continue that. We can't waste energy on things that we have no control over, and we have to respect their decision. If they don't want to come back, I get it. You know, some people wear the mask and the gloves. I'm not one of them, but I respect people's decision to be able to want to do that. And as pastors, it's going to happen. Pastors are going to get emails and texts. We were one of the last churches to shut down having Sunday service. And we had some of those people do exactly that. They didn't come. And I was like, and they thought I would be mad at them. I'm like, I totally get it. It's fine. It's okay. You're not mad at me. No, I understand and I respect your decision to make that and to be able to stay home. And we need to be able to do that. That shows that we really love them and we really care about them. Instead of caring about the church, we care about the soul. That's has to be our focus. We care about the soul.
I love that. Any thoughts from you, Kim?
Absolutely, 100% judgment-free. Your personal decision is your personal decision. And I think the message we need to send is we welcome you back when you feel safe to return, and not a day before. And that's going to be a different timeline from person to person. Right. And it is 100% judgment free. We love you. We welcome you back when you feel comfortable to return. And until then, we may probably going to have to supplement with different volunteers, but your place is secure when you feel comfortable to come home.
It's great. Great advice. And yesterday, as we were sharing, we were talking about this word fear. Sometimes we want to label fear on people who are reluctant to do whatever during this time. And in the family of God, I think we have to be careful when we assign that word to people. Some people are in compromised positions, and the wise thing and the loving thing for us to do even is to say, hey, this isn't your time yet, you know. And I think that's where, as Melissa said, maintaining some of these new avenues of ministry will be important. Just because some of us are returning to church, others may not be able to. And so continuing to do the online videos and connections, I think, will still be crucial moving forward. So Kim, back to you one more time. How do we help our children now to adjust to the new procedures and expectations that we're going to have when we return? And do you have any advice? Because I'm a preschool children's minister, and I know especially how some younger kids are, they just may not be able or willing to comply to those expectations. What do we do?
I definitely think that children need structure, they need routine, and they need consistency. And when they return to church, it's going to be very, very different. So I think we have to understand, we have to be patient to understand it will take some time for the children to adjust to these new routines. I think we have to show them what we want them to do, not just tell them what we want them to do. So if we're going to have an assigned seat or an assigned table or a hula hoop for them to sit in, they need to understand that that's their spot and that that's our expectation. I think visualizing the expectations where we can refer back to them, because it's new protocols and new expectations. It's going to take some redirection. It's going to take some reminders to say, remember everyone, we have to stay in our sections because we want everyone to be safe. I think it's just important for them to understand this new reality and almost a walking them through. Maybe that first Sunday is very not so structured in regards to a lesson, but more walking them through, this is what kids church is going to look like for now, and explaining to them why we're doing what we're doing and that we've missed them. We want to have face-to-face ministry, but in order to do that, we have to follow the recommendations and the restrictions that are put in place.
Great advice. And any thoughts from you, Melissa?
Kim hit it really well. We just have to communicate with kids and talk to them over and over. We had a local restaurant here that before they were allowed to reopen, but before they did, they took a video camera and they videoed where the tape was on the floor, on the sidewalk, 6 feet apart, where were supposed to stand. And I think that would be a great thing for our kids, just to take that video camera and walk them through where everything is, let them see it. Also, my daughter and I are planning on doing a little role play thing where she's all excited to get back to church, and we'll actually go to the church and kind of act out some situations that she could come into, just so the kids are aware of how it's going to be different. And again, just communicate with our kids too and explain to them with a lot of love and what's going to be happening.
That's excellent. Boy, I've been watching some of Melissa's videos, so I can't wait to see all these great things that you're developing. Sounds great. Well, one more question for you guys, and we've kind of touched on it, but I would like to hear your thoughts as we conclude our time today. We, as I said earlier, during this period of isolation, I've been so impressed with our children's ministers and pastors who've embraced tools like Zoom and Facebook to remain connected with their students. Just last night, I was speaking with a children's minister who she's doing her children's ministry live on Facebook every week, and had never done a Facebook Live before. So a lot of exciting things are happening. So I'd like to hear just quickly from each of you, do you foresee the need of maintaining those moving forward? And how do we incorporate those into our current offerings? I know for many children's ministers, this is something above and beyond now. When they return to church, not only will they have their children's church lesson, but now doing it online. So how do you foresee all this fitting in together? How about you, Melissa?
Again, we'll be continuing this online service for a while the kids are doing family service. When we go back to having individual service, we could record what's happening there. Although I hate for kids to feel left out in that regard. But even on, I've been doing a Wednesday class, kind of just a real little short devotional that I can continue doing for all the kids. So they will have that. So leaning more towards doing something like that for letting them have. And then some other ideas that I've had for a while, just never did it, is that I really wanted to offer a family service at the beginning of a children's church unit that they could participate in. And now I can see that as so much more possibility, because we could simply record that service. And then parents could watch it on our YouTube channel and then be aware of what their kids are learning at church. So I'm excited about some of the things that we can do that never really occurred to me before.
Sounds great. How about you, Kim?
Yes, I think it's a thin line between social distancing and social isolation. And I think it's important that even when we come back together in face-to-face ministry, I think the connection, if we're not careful, could still be missing. And so I think it can't be either or, it has to be and. It has to be face-to-face, and that we continue to do some of the things we've done throughout this time to connect with the kids. Either that's the Zoom pizza party that you have, or hey, just jumping on Zoom, let me see your face. What did you do this week? Just keeping that connection going, because I think right now the kids have felt kind of isolated, feeling stuck. And as things are reopening back up, And there will be kids that can't join us back face to face in the beginning just because of situations. We want them to remain connected and for them not to feel like they're missing out on things, that they're a part of this ministry as well. So I hope we continue this buffet of choices of ministry that we've kind of had going and not go back into just what we were doing before.
Excellent. All right, Pastor Mark, bring us home here.
Yes, we need to keep maintaining it. Cell phones have become the new TV, where TV was the source of information. Now it's the click of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everything else in between. And God has given us an opportunity to be able to use that to win so many souls all around the world. And so our youth ministry, our kids ministry is about to start it up this week. We have teachings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're seeing more influx of people coming in regards to what we're preaching, what we're saying. That never would have happened before if it wasn't for Corona, you know, and what some people see as tragedy has been a great opportunity through all of this for us to be able to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ all over the world. And yeah, Facebook, Zoom, I pray that we keep it in our youth ministries, our kids ministries, not just for our adults for Sunday mornings, but everywhere, because it has so much potential to exponentially reach more souls than we ever could face to face, even though face to face is still important. It's like Kim said, it's not about this or that, it's about both and.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I love, Pastor Mark, your church has been very active using social media and other tools for a long time. But as you're talking, I realize, you know, there's, you were doing that and that was great, but now there's more people who are looking for it, you know, and you already were in that space. So that's wonderful. And so, yeah, I think many of us will, at least for a period, continue embracing those wonderful tools that we have in our arsenal, in our toolbox, as we enter the church space in our facilities. So I want to thank everybody who are watching right now. Please know that we've been praying for you, and we've been working very hard to do what we can to help provide tools and resources to come alongside you during this difficult time here at International Children's Ministries. Again, go to the website. The web address is cogop.org/children. Again, cogop.org/children. And there on the main page, you can find Resuming KidMin after COVID-19, and all the resources that we've mentioned here are there. You can download them in multiple formats, customize them, and use them as you will. I also want to just say thank you to our panelists. I told you they were all stars, and they have knocked it out of the park today. I want to thank Kim Batson and Melissa Minter and Mark Wagner Jr. For joining us today. As we conclude, I want to encourage you again. We've shared a lot of great ideas here, but we do encourage you to comply with the directives of your government, of your local, state, national, territorial governments, and as well as the leadership of your intermediate office, the national, regional, and state offices that are out there. They're working very hard as well to know what is appropriate for your locality and where you are. So thank you again. Please check out our resources, and God bless you.